Hello, talk presentation here, the second stream of the day from yours truly. Hi, Pugs Moran here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Let's bring in my partner in sound. His name is James Aloysius Parker. Look at him. There he is.
Aloysius. I feel like you nailed that one in.
Let's make this coupling a little kinky. Let's bring in a third to our party. His name is E. We bring him here as well.
Aloysius.
It's a hell of a middle name, I'll tell you. E, gotta say, man, your neighborhood that you have so kindly dropped me in the center of is quite the center of attention right now. First of all, I reside in E's property. We do we built a studio here. It's all wonderful and all that kind of stuff. He is in Highland Park, Texas. I don't want people to get it confused. I'm not in Highland Park, Texas. He is in Highland Park, Texas. He is allowing me to crash here. E, would you agree with me when I say for such an exclusive neighborhood, there is a constant stream of police and fire activity, especially in the corner here by where we live?
Well, I think it's because of the road over. It's the road over
you cut through Lomo Alto to get from Mockingbird,
yes.
So the police cars fly down at 80 miles an hour with lights screaming and
because there's the one-way street the other way.
Yeah, I mean it is the cut through, right? If you need,
right? Well, it has to be. I mean, it just
the reason I bring it up is because as we speak, there was a huge event right next door to us on Friday where we had these screaming ambulances and police cars and all of that stuff. That was on Friday, and that was right next door. And right now, as I speak, we've got quite the event going on about 4 houses down on the opposite side of the street. This is only for E's edification because I don't believe anybody else would know, but I think it's the Black Lives Matter house.
Really?
I do. I think it's the Black Lives Matter house.
What makes it the Black Lives Matter house?
They have a Black Lives Matter sign in their front yard. And it's like the most rarest thing that you'll see in Highland Park.
Well, because there was the same problem on the same side of the road about one house away from that. And remember, the emergency trucks would come every 3 or 4 times. Like it was like a month at one point, and then finally they came like 3 or 4 days in a row, and then the next thing I knew, they were knocking the house down.
Well, that's yes, because right next door to the Black Lives Matter house is now a house that's under construction. They've leveled
Correct.
it, and now, so maybe it's a construction site accident because the guys,
or maybe it's gas pipes, is what I'm thinking.
Oh, man, I don't know, but the whole neighborhood is out there, and I was with them just about 10 minutes ago.
Well, because the same thing was happening. The fire department came to the house that they knocked down, and they came like multiple times, and I think I'm speculating, but I think it was related to gas. And then so they knocked that down, they started, and it would make sense then if they're back out and they've maybe now got the house to the point where they're going to start running gas lines, and they started to do it, and now the next door neighbor's having issues or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
The new house, the house that they're building, is probably 1/10 through. It's a wooden frame.
Yeah, but you still got to run your stuff as you're going up with the foundation. So I don't know.
After the show, I'm going to take I'll take CeeLo on our nightly walk, and I'll go down there and I'll investigate. But there is right now currently there's about, I think it's every fire engine that Highland Park has and a whole bunch of cops, and they seem to have this street blocked off at the tollway. You know where the tollway enters?
Mm-hmm.
They seem to. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going on, but so far we seem to be okay. On that same thing, let me ask you a question, James. You with your bug tussle values, and E with his sophisticated jet set values, and me with my just Ruby working class, aw shucks kind of look at the world. Let me show you a house that is of great a debate in this neighborhood. Now, you know the house I'm going to show, right, E?
The Smurf house?
No. Here you go.
Oh.
Somebody painted their mansion cowboy blue. Now that's it.
Oh, now you are accepting that it is cowboy blue.
I am. Well, you're right. Okay. You're right. You pointed it out. I don't see it that way because, I don't see everything as cowboy, but you're right. You are right. It is cowboy blue. So let's call it that. E and I think we're on different sides of the fence on this one.
I certainly started out I certainly started out on the other side of the fence.
I walk by this house every day, and I can tell you now. So I put this up on Twitter, and I'll tell you the results of what's happening on Twitter. I've just posed the question. Somebody in the neighborhood painted their house blue. What do you think? Right? I didn't say what I think until enough people had commented, and then I chimed in. I love it. I love it. I walk by it every day. I think that is a really sharp looking house. It stands out for sure. I mean, it's different. It's different. But first of all, it's a beautiful home. It's like this beautiful old Virginia colonial kind of thing. And for it to be that color, man, I don't know. E, what's your take on it?
So I started out hating it, just totally hating it. Like I was like, what are they thinking? Like I thought it was almost like an underpaint that they were
Like they
putting
weren't
because
done.
it was well, like because it was an older house that they had redone and added some stuff onto, and so this is a new version of it. And so I looked at that and I was like, oh, okay. I just didn't like it. And then I saw the white shutters and, and now I've got a visual and I really, really am leaning towards liking it. There's just one piece to me that is just totally out of place.
You don't like it.
And I can't get there. But if they were to do this to this one particular piece, it would be phenomenal.
All right, what should they do, Mr. Artist?
The door.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at the door, if you look at the door is so screaming contemporary. Okay. It's so screaming contemporary. Like you go, what in the hell were they thinking? Like this is a colonial house with a plain tan door. Okay, but now stop right there. Just stop right there. If you took and you looked at that door, right? It's wood, then it's glass, then it's wood, then it's glass, then it's wood, then it's glass. And it repeats that all the way down, right? If you painted that wood red,
you and your red door, you want to,
dude, it would look like a flag because the frosted glass would be white, the wood would be red, and it would then look like you had abstractly put this door that was contemporary with this red, white, frosted glass, red, white, frosted glass right down there in the middle. And then that I think is kick ass. I would add a flag, I think, like a flagpole, maybe somewhere.
So you're going full on federal. You're going, this is something
not federal. This is United States.
No, that's
like
what I'm
it
saying,
would
but
look.
these are the kinds of houses that you see in Virginia. These are the kinds of houses that this style
Got
of home.
to.
Yeah. It's and the aesthetic that they did, the change that they did to the door and all that, that's very like Thomas Jefferson. That's very like old timey.
Oh, the top of the door. Yeah,
There's
all that
literally two eagles.
accoutrement.
There's two little eagles carved into the top of the door. You can't see it here, but if you get close enough, you can. So it's Now hold on. People in the chat room are like shooting down Amel's color scheme, and that's fine. Everybody can have their own opinion. But let me just say this: I have never known a person.
I think flag red.
I've never known a person who was better with colors than Amel. So you might be thinking, oh, whatever, that red's not going to work. I'm telling you, if he's saying it's going to work, I bet it would look awesome. James, what do you think of the Blue Mansion?
I think it looks great. I'm probably one of the worst people to ask because I think a lot of dumb stuff looks great.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's been my experience that I've said, oh, that looks great. And my wife goes, you're insane. And then I have like a tiebreaker. I'm like, all right, Will, what do you think? Or all right, Dana, what do you think? They're like, no, that looks horrible, James. You're an idiot. So
the other thing that needs to be pointed out is that this isn't a wood house. This isn't aluminum siding. This is brick. This is a really solid home, James.
That's fine. That's fine. But I don't understand how anyone could even begin to have a problem with it. Like, if you don't think that's the best, that should look, they should have a red door instead of a brown door. Totally acceptable. But for someone to go, oh my God, they just ruined that house. I can't even stand to look at it. They're embarrassing the neighborhood. Those people.
I don't think
ridiculous.
they are. I don't think they're embarrassing the neighborhood. I think
No.
See, I think the hard color to see there, okay, with it almost looking comical,
Mhm.
is that red. Okay. And so artistically, I want to drive to like the farthest point I can with it being questionable and something bold that you wouldn't normally try.
To make it
You know what I
pop.
mean?
Make it pop
Right.
out.
Well, there's a lot of people that are going to go, okay, well, I could come in and do the easy choice and I could paint that door white.
Mhm.
You know, white would just kind of make it blend in like the
It would
rest of the
disappear
white.
with the it would disappear with
It,
the
would-
framing
it,
of
it
the
would,
door.
yeah, it would just kind of go away.
Mhm.
And so that, you know, that's a simple choice. The tan to me kind of seems unfinished, you know, if I look at it, you know, here. The red, to me, I'm a little partial to it because to me, it feels like you're trying to feel all American, wholesome, you know, colonial
Classic.
in this, yeah, in this particular thing. And so why not take a swipe at it with the red door? The good news is it's only a coat of paint.
Mhm.
And so you don't really get a good perspective. Yeah, you could go in and say, okay, I'm going to put this in my computer and do it. And, you know, what's the door
Yeah,
look
you gotta
like
see it in
this and
sunlight.
this and this. But somewhere aesthetically, I think if you could just paint the door versus looking at a computer generated version of it, it's a cheap cheap way to get away with it. And it's also a cheap way that you can change yearly too. Like I saw light blue, I could see light blue in there. I could see, you know, hell, in Highland Park, I think we've got one that they painted that blue and that yellow. You
Oh,
know,
oh, oh,
I mean, I
oh.
think it's 2 streets down.
I'll have pictures for you. I gotta wait. I don't. There's a house 2 streets north of here. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's not yellow, although I do know the one you're talking about. But there was another house 2 streets up. Is that Belfort? I think maybe, or is Belfort? Then I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
yeah, the other way.
So this house is under construction, and guess what they're doing to this house? They're turning it into like a Polynesian themed house. The outside of the structure now it's
Oh, no, 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 that was that way, dude. That's my buddy's house.
with
He
the
just
with
sold
like
it.
the
Yeah, with the dudes
carvings.
out front. Oh yeah, it's been that way
That is
Does it
forever.
have
He
like
had
a
a
thatched roof or something?
yeah, he had a yeah. Show that
Well,
one.
I
I've
don't have
been
a
in that
picture of it.
house.
I don't have a picture because I've
Oh,
I've
dude,
only
in the
walked
backyard,
I've only walked
the
by it in the night.
backyard is a jungle. It's like a jungle in a pool, like if you were in a
He
lagoon.
has hold on, just let me give people an idea of what we're talking about. You walk by this person's house, and this house, he's having it completely redone. It's being completely redone. Like it's under
Well,
construction right now. So, but the outside of the facade of the house has these 2 carvings of like Samoan warriors carved into the house. It's crazy.
he's one of my best buddies in the world. He and I have been friends
How's
for
it I've
like
never met him? What do you mean when you're best buddies? What the
I
hell am I?
you went. I don't. Why didn't you go over there? When we went over there Halloween, he always would have the Halloween party. And I guess you stayed home one night. You were giving out remember when Ed was giving out the big candy bars
Oh, yeah.
on the neighborhood? He was like, I want him to come to E's house. So we ordered all those big candy bars. Yeah. So it was, we went over there for the Halloween party. But yeah, if you could show that house on the front, it is the wackiest house. It's been that wacky
It's
for
wacky. And I'm wondering what the
10
neighbors
years.
think. Because I had
Oh,
somebody commented on the Twitter thread of that house I just showed you. What does the HOA say about that? And I'm like, I don't think the HOA.
there is no HOA.
Because
Yeah,
that
there
house
is-
on Beverly that has like a junkyard in its front yard would be the first target of the HOA if there was a Highland Park
Well, that's
HOA.
not a junkyard. That's actually a bunch of monuments and plants.
It's a protest,
Like,
right?
like no,
Well, the signs say it's a
no.
protest. There are signs that say this is
Well,
in
no,
protest.
she's protesting. She's protesting because the city of Highland Park, the city of Highland Park, wrote a rule basically not allowing people to do what she's doing. What she's doing is she's a fan of lawn art, for lack of a better word.
Pink flamingos and such.
Right. So she's a fan of
Lawn
we need to
jockeys,
take
if you
pictures.
will.
Now that we're doing this, I mean, we got to take pictures because it really is a thing, particularly if you're going to talk about the neighborhood, like how it just evolves into weird stuff.
Mhm.
So this is an elderly lady that's been here for a long time. The neighborhood has obviously changed. It's a moneyed neighborhood now. And she just wants to live her life the way
She
that
wants to
she's
die in her
wants
house that she's lived in
to
for 8
live it.
years. Yeah.
So she's over time started gathering these, like, for lack of a better word, outdoor
Knickknacks.
concrete,
Outdoor knickknacks.
knickknacks. And she's placed them
Statues, fountains.
in some logical order.
I don't know about
But they're
that. It seems very haphazard when you walk by.
it's but for her there's some story going on with it, because there's so many of them and they're so different. Like, artistically, I'm giving her credit for she's quilted together a pattern of these types of things, and it's maybe not the most, I don't know.
It's terrible. It looks like a junkyard. James, what do you got? You pulled something up. What do you got?
I don't
Well, I'm
think
gonna start a whole new different thing. So
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
But
that's,
anyway.
we're done with that. I just wanted to mention that there was stuff in the neighborhood.
So the Highland Park wrote a rule basically not allowing her to do what she's doing and giving her a certain amount of time to take the stuff down.
sounds like a protest.
And she's now she's refused in protest to take it down, and they're now having to sue, and it could very well go to the state.
The last thing that I want to say, and James, I'll throw it to you. The blue house that we just showed, I believe that's a gay couple, which actually makes sense because all the guys in the chat room are saying they like the blue, and all the women are saying they don't. So maybe it's a male thing. But when you walk by that house, as I do all the time at night, they have their windows open. I think it's a gay couple. You walk by.
You need to show the Smurf house.
Yeah, I will. I got pictures of the Smurf house. I can actually show that. I got it in my phone. But the inside of that house is amazing. It is so tasteful. You know what I mean? It's so like stylish. When you walk by, it's like, okay, James, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so I don't know how much time you guys have spent with the far end of the geriatric spectrum, but this is sort of new to me, and it is just comical in many ways. And what I mean is, like, when I was growing up in Bug Tussle, we mixed ages and races and everything very much because there's only like 12 people around, you know? So I remember hanging out with old people, but when I was growing up, old people were like 50, 60, maybe even 70. We didn't have people that were 80 and 90. Right? When I was growing up, I don't remember anybody being 80. I'm sure they existed.
Of course they did.
I know, I'm saying I didn't know any of these people, and the few that I ever like came in contact with, I certainly didn't spend any length of time around them or be aware of their issues, right?
Right.
But now you know, I've seen my grandparents kind of go through it, and then my wife's parents are I mean, my wife still has a grandmother that's alive in her 90s, but my wife's dad is in his 80s, and my dad's getting up there. He's in his 70s now. And I hadn't seen human beings deteriorate at this level before, and it is wild. Have y'all spent a significant amount of time around people over 80 and 90?
Yes.
Well, my mom just passed away in 2020.
Yeah. I spent the last 5 years with my dying grandfather, who I was taken care of in his house. Yeah. So yeah, I have. But yeah, tell me, what have you learned? What have you experienced?
It's not a pretty exit, is it, James?
Well, it's not that that you know, the exit, of course, is going to be ugly. No one likes death. It's the most morbid thing possible. In fact, that's what morbid means. I'm talking about this middle phase where they are descending from an adult back into childhood, and y'all definitely seen that.
Oh, that's what I'm referring to exactly. It's not it's regardless of how it ends. It's the when you start to see it end. It's not pretty.
Yeah, and so y'all can make fun of me. I've never seen this before. Yeah,
I'm making funny, huh?
I'm not making fun. I'm just saying.
The chat room making funny because I don't think we are. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how you perceive it, and then when you're in the midst of it, you're like, "Wow, this is how it goes down."
Right.
Like, I never thought that.
Man, and so I don't know. You know, there's always the discussion on, you know, is it better to just drop dead when you're 72? You know, like while you're at work, like Tim Russert, he's getting ready for a meet the press and just fell over, and like when he.
No, he was way too young. He was way too young. Tim Russert, he was like Emil's age, and you're like, well, Emil, in James's view, you should just drop dead.
No. I'm saying there is a trade-off for living long enough, is that you go through this phase, and there's an advantage to dropping dead young. That's, you know, at least you miss this tragic. The part of your life you miss is this part of your life. It's not like you miss going to the drive-in and meeting the love of your life,
James,
I mean, I think if
go ahead.
I think if the trade-off, not Stephanie, I think if the trade-off is 90 days slow or just drop dead, I would choose just drop
Of
dead.
course.
You know, if excuse me, if I knew I was dying and they said 90 days, I'm assuming those 90 days are going to be spent saying goodbye, and they're not going to be in the best of health. And some of those weeks may even just be crappier and crappier. If I then think back to way that relatives or friends of relatives passed on. If you could just be healthy to 90 and then flip a switch and one day not wake up, and I was guaranteed 90, I'd be happy as a pig right now, thinking, okay, I could run for another 30, but life just doesn't give you that, and that's what sucks.
Well,
It's
now,
like
wait
it
a
could
second.
be over tomorrow.
Hold on. There are plenty of examples. There are plenty of examples, especially now with the way people, old people are not like old people. We're all living older. Old people now may have started jogging in the 70s. There was more of a health conscious thing for old. So old people are living older. And I'll tell you this, there are excellent examples in very large public view of people in their 90s who are super freaking active and still on the top of their game. A great example is Mel Brooks. I just saw Mel Brooks interview on YouTube from 2 months ago, and the guy's tap dancing. Then there's who's the guy who created All in the Family and all that stuff. That
Norman
TV
Mailer?
Norman Lear. No, Norman Mailer. No. Norman Mailer was a scary artist. No, Norman Lear. Norman Lear.
Oh yeah, Norman Mailer's okay, never mind.
Yeah. He
That
shot
guy.
and killed a woman once. That's Norman Mailer.
Different guy.
Norman Lear is like 99, and he's still running around and producing TV shows. My mother has a next door neighbor, a very close family friend. His name is Stan. He's in his 90s. He just beat cancer 4 months ago, and he is up. He runs around. He fishes. He runs book. He's an active bookie. You know what that means? He's an active bookie still into his 90s. Been doing that for probably 70 years of his life. So, 90 is not a death sentence anymore. People are still vibrant in their 90s now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
if you're fortunate.
If you're fortunate. Yeah, that's it. Because there are certainly examples of people who never even made 90. They just withered away in their 70s.
All right, so let's talk about my father-in-law, because he doesn't watch this show. Neither does my mother-in-law. So I feel like I can run my mouth pretty free with no consequences coming from the in-laws over there. All
He's
right.
90. He doesn't know how to sign on.
No, well, he kind of does, but no one go send this to him being a smart ass, please. Let me just be able to talk about my in-laws without getting me in trouble. Can we all agree to that? Because this is going to be embarrassing. All right, so my father-in-law has been scammed a few times. And it's by the same people over and over, and it's dumb. Like I've gotten to talk to him on the phone a couple times because you catch him talking to the scammers again, and it's a guy with the Jamaican accent named Ben Franklin. Like if that doesn't have red flags, then he's early age of dementia, right? I mean he's been scammed like 6 times by this guy. Like this one time he's like, "Hey, you got a virus on your computer. Can you put this on your computer to get it off?" And it was TeamViewer. And so then he just took control of his computer. Yeah. I mean, it's God. So and I don't say this to make fun of him or bash him. I'm just letting you know, we've already had problems with this dude's cognitive judgment for about a decade or so. And he's 81. He's had heart attacks. He's had multiple strokes. But he's continued to kind of work for himself as an architect all these years. And we kind of let him pretend that he's still doing jobs and stuff. And we kind of really have to watch all his communication because he keeps getting scammed. So here is his latest bit.
Okay.
He and his buddies want to have a reunion, like a school reunion.
How many buddies he got left?
Okay, so he's 81. He'll be 82 later this year. And he's not talking about his high school. He's not talking about his college. He's not talking about Tulane. He's talking about his junior high. So, all right, stupid idea. But this is a stupid idea that him and like 4 of his friends who went to the same junior high all agree that it's a great idea. Well, you got to go do something with the dog. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So tell me about y'all's brilliant idea, you and 4 of your friends, to put together a junior high reunion. And what is this? What class do you think this is of, Emil? I would just like to hear you guess. Like, what class? What year do you think this is a reunion of?
Well, if he's 80, right?
You won.
You got to count back 23 and then another 57. So he's got to be 63. Yeah, 63. Class of?
Very, very close. Very close. So he is the Forche junior high class. He's from New Orleans. What the heck? Oh, hey, dog.
That's
What's on CeeLo?
I had to step away because this little monster was crying at the door.
Don't eat me, CeeLo.
Go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
All right. So it's the Forche middle school class of 1958.
Okay, 5 off. All right.
1958. So if you graduated 8th grade at this one middle school in New Orleans that hasn't existed since before I was born, you're having a reunion. So the guys, they've actually managed to contact a handful of people who are doing nothing else. And so sure, they want to go if they're anywhere in town. And so this sounds like a terrible idea. How many people could possibly be left? 10? All right, but it gets worse. It gets worse.
Hold on, wait. Let me push back though. It's not a terrible thing. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it's a great idea. I think if there are 10 of them left and they can all get together in the same room, how awesome would that be? I don't know why you're shitting on it.
Well, then we're not having a reunion. Me and the 9 people who haven't died of natural causes since then are going to go to Dave and Buster's or something. But they're trying to
hang out and have some drinks, talk about, mortality. Come on, man. These are people who've had the life experience. It's very rare when you're that old to be able to connect with people who share the same experiences. I mean, I don't know. I think it's nice, but go ahead. Finish.
You ever been to a middle school reunion?
Never.
Yeah, I went to my own 8th grade middle school reunion, our 10-year reunion. It was a blast. Of course, we were all just 27, so we were partying like crazy, but it was still fun.
Yeah, I've never heard of having a middle school reunion in adulthood, which is part of the reason we're all scratching our head going, why aren't you having a Beauregard reunion? Is it because y'all went to high school with Lee Harvey Oswald? Because he literally went to high school with Lee Harvey. Right? So we think that's why he might be skipping the high school reunion. But also, I don't know. Anyway,
you go to the high school reunion too, but there's no reason. I mean, are you saying
to help my high school? We would have celebrated that probably.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody famous.
Yeah, we got nobody in my high school either. That would have been the biggest star.
Okay, so here's one of the grand plans. They want to rent out an event space, and they want to have a giant graphic of the middle school because that building's not there. The building hadn't been there forever. Forche Middle School. And so there's an old picture of the front of the middle school, the facade of the middle school, and it's in black and white, and it's faded, and it's sort of that sepia brown color, and it's small. It's a reprint from an old newspaper. It's the best picture they could find thus far. And so my father-in-law, the sort of retired architect, thought, here's what I'll do. I'll just sketch this since I'm an artist. We sketch for a living. I'm going to sketch this, and then we'll blow up my sketch real big, and we'll make a giant 8-foot tall, 10-foot wide banner of this. Put it on, I don't know, one of them vinyl banners or something like that, and we'll put it on the wall at the reunion, and then all of us who are still alive can just kind of go shuffle into this little gray-haired cotton top huddle, and we can all have our picture taken in front of this picture of our old school. And it'll be doubly cool because, one of our classmates, Ray, who went on to go to Tulane and be an architect and do some stuff with his life, this is the guy that drew it. So my wife, who's a graphic artist for a living now, usually gets saddled with some of these tasks. So he sends her the JPEG for her to blow up to 8 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and print out. So him and the 1958 graduates of Forche Middle School could take their picture in front of it. And look at this shitty JPEG.
What is that? The school?
What is that?
That's the drawing my father-in-law wants my wife to print out as like 8 feet tall and 10 feet wide, so all these old geezers can rent out a ballroom.
Are those trees in the front?
Or are they giant holes knocked through the center? It looks like this building has been destroyed by
Are those trees?
Oh, that is classic New Orleans.
Are those
flora.
trees in front of it?
Moss?
I can't
Yeah,
tell.
Is that
trees.
moss?
Those are trees. I don't know.
Okay, we'll make them green because they look like giant holes in the building.
It doesn't
Like,
matter.
Yeah, the one on the right looks like the Grinch.
it looks like the Kool-Aid Man ran through the buildings.
No, the very right, the one outside of the building, the one outside of
Yeah.
the building with his nose up in the air. He kind of looks like he's the
Yeah,
Grinch.
that's got some
and
Grinchy
like,
vibes to it, absolutely. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about the two in the structure. There are two, and they look like giant holes. It looks like a giant cannonball went through both sides, or an airplane crashed into both sides.
All right.
Is that a fish at the top of the building?
What is that? A fish?
All right. I'm going to zoom in
Is that a
on
tsunami wave coming up from behind it? It looks like a tsunami wave.
this is part of the fun. This is part of the experiment. We're all going to zoom in, and if you guys not know,
Oh, that's a fish.
Have
There's
it-
no doubt that
there's no prior knowledge of this photo. What does this say?
It says in a class by itself.
Yes.
Scabula blur 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 blur. That's it.
Frontier silver tarpons.
Forche.
Forche silver.
There you go.
And I'm only going with tarpons because I heard him say it. I can't read that as tarpons. Forche
I
silver.
think it's tarpons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a tarpon.
Look, all right. So when you blow it up to 8 feet tall and 10 feet wide, that is what it's going to
Yeah, it
look
looks like digicamo.
Not good.
is what he is asking my wife to print. And
No,
so
this
Well,
is-
she's a graphic
Hold on,
artist.
hold on.
She
This
needs
is
to-
this is his daughter, right? He's asking his daughter to print.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's asking his daughter for guidance. Hey, how could we get this printed out really big? Would it be on like one of those vinyl signs or something, or so we could have a backdrop made and we take our picture in front of it. She's like, first off, the JPEG quality is absolutely terrible. It's not supposed to be a tiny little JPEG. If I blow it up, it's not even really going to be readable unless you're standing across the room. This is what it's going to look like. Like this is what
it needs to be additionally pixelated by about 1 billion. I mean, there is no resolution to it.
So
I mean, basically, she's a graphic artist, and he's given her an image that she needs to essentially reproduce in a better form.
yeah, like this is not usable. There's no way you can take this to a printer and have it look good when it comes out.
No, I think you could sell that as digicamo. Like it looks like some type of camouflage.
right.
It
More
looks
so
like Pac-Man maze right now.
all right.
Well, but when it was a little less consistent.
So a couple
know.
things here. Being in the next room over while she is having this conversation on the phone is funny.
I like how they admit people in the school with the 3 doors.
You got 3 doors. Yeah, well,
Yeah, right there at the front of the steps.
pretty sure only white people, but yeah.
Why would that be funny?
But it seems like those doors are like one way only. Like there's no doubleness to
They
them.
look like school doors, E. I don't know what you're getting bogged down in. James?
Yeah, I don't know what the door thing is. Okay, a couple of funny things here though is I hear my wife trying to get my father-in-law. She says, "Send me the original drawing." Father-in-law says, "That is the original drawing." She goes, "No, like you drew this on a piece of paper." Yes. "Send me that drawing." This is that drawing. She goes, "No, you didn't draw all of these squiggly lines. You had this scanned in as a PDF and mailed it to me. You mailed me a PDF. I know what you did." He goes, "Yes, but that's the original drawing." So there's like a communication barrier.
Yeah, I just communicate. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'd be on her dad's side. I'd be like, yeah, what are you talking about? Do you want me to just snail mail you the actual hard copy? Is that what she's asking? Then
Yeah,
say that.
or go find it and take it across the street to where her brother lives, and he can take either a decent picture or a high resolution scan, and not run it through the scanner as a PDF in this ridiculously low pixelated form, and send her something that if you print it out, it'll look like trash, right?
Her dad probably has the version of the equipment where it was fax predominantly and scan secondarily. And now it's turned to scan only and no fax.
Right, like all of his office equipment is so old, it's sort of that yellow tint. But
right.
Okay, so here's the next funny part. Whenever we do get the actual image worked out in a high resolution version that is capable of being printed without being completely embarrassing, he had some quotes on putting it on a big vinyl sign, and he was questioning it because the quote seemed kind of high, because the guy said he'd be happy to print this thing out and it'd be perfect, exactly what he wants. Vinyl sign, 8 feet tall, 10 feet wide, $8,000.
What?
I told her, hit mute. She goes, what? I said, tell him we do it for 6.
We'll figure out how to. We will learn how to do it.
I'm telling you, call Fathead and send them your graphics, and they'll probably do it for maybe 1,000.
So that's when wife flips me the bird, laughs, and walks out into the patio, and I miss the rest of the conversation because I'm in the next room, not supposed to be hearing it anyway. It's
I want to know why you're not encouraging this whole thing. I want to know why you're not just going, you do it, old man. I want to know why you're being such a stick in the mud.
Oh, I am. Oh, no. I want him to do it because I like watching old people just run into walls like a Roomba, just bonk, and they turn around, they run into another one, they run into another one. Because this guy, look,
He's so disrespectful.
well, he's kind of been an ass, and so
disrespectful.
he has such a huge ego that when you see people like a very condescending, like, I have a master's degree from Tulane and I follow the science, kind of one of those people. It's like, all right, go.
Smart person.
Yeah, smart person who hands over 7 figures to a guy named Ben Franklin or whatever.
We've established he's got dementia. So you sound like you don't like your grandpa-in-law. It sounds like
no, I really do.
It sounds like he's angry because he gave away some of his inheritance.
Sounds like he's angry because he's maybe a little liberal. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like maybe what? Because he follows the science. That's a reason for James not to like him.
He doesn't know what he is, and so he goes in circular arguments because when I first met him, he didn't believe in global warming, and then he gave me like several books about global warming because we're destroying the earth, and then now he's kind of gaslighting me and is like, can you believe people believe in global warming? I'm like, you gave me 3 effing books.
He's going around in circles.
Yeah, and it's like, do you not remember that? That was like a whole decade of our, because I've known this guy for like 17 years now, forever.
You are allowed to change your mind, though. That is the thing.
Sure,
only stupid people still believe what they believed when they were 20. If you don't change your mind when new, fresh information crosses your desk, then you're a stupid person. So consequently, smart people who ingest new information often look contradictory throughout the years.
Or legitimately, he has dementia and he's forgetting it, and you're just stepping all over him.
Look, you can change your mind. That's fine, but don't pretend like you didn't believe in what you're saying is stupid right now. 4 years ago. So yeah, this is a dementia thing.
Believe me, dude, I had a grandmother who got dementia, and I explained to her who I was because she had forgot.
Oh.
And I thought, well, okay, we're over that hurdle. And then I showed back up like 5 minutes after I left the room, and I came back in and she was back on to who are you? And I was like, oh, wow, this is really serious.
See, I don't want anybody to see me like that. And do I sound just a little dumb when I say I'm going to kill myself when I get to that stage?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you don't even know how to comprehend killing yourself. You're that far out of it.
Well, James, James, I don't want to shock you on this. I'm with you. I know, unless there is an accident that is unforeseen, like a plane engine falls on me while I'm sitting in the front yard, I know with a fairly good amount of certainty how I will probably die. And I'm not going to go through cancer. I'm not going to die of cancer. When I get the diagnosis, I might have myself a really good time, maybe get a second opinion, see if there's really any hope. And if they say, no, there's no hope, you're going to be stage 4. That's it, man. I'm going to handle this by myself, death with dignity. So no, I don't think you're crazy when you say that. I'm very serious about that.
Yeah, I'm going straight to the heroin.
That's how I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be an 85-year-old dude who does a hot shot of heroin and goes out surfing a rainbow. That's how I'm going out.
Yeah. Hey, Carol, call one of your Aryan friends or whatever. Let's get me some smack.
Let's give me some junk. Hot shot it right into my vein.
The only thing I can say is it's very bold to have a plan on how you're going out. And I think it's naive because I've thought about it.
Sure.
And I think it's naive to even have a plan because just none of it's guaranteed. like literally, and so I think having that plan is kind of cool. It maybe puts you in what you feel to be a safe place because you're nervous about ultimately what death is going to be. I think everybody, kind of at some point fears it. And I think there becomes this point where like all of a sudden you embrace it and you're like, okay, what the worst is going to be what happened to everybody else.
I just like the control aspect of it. I just like that I am in control of my life, not cancer.
You're right though, and the word you're using is naive. I feel like I'm naive when I say things like that. Like this is something that's gonna come back and bite me in the butt. But it's the way I feel. Like when I say, those types of things can't happen to me. They only happen to other people. I know that sounds naive, but I mean I truly believe that.
I don't know. Maybe it sounds a bit. Go ahead, E. I was gonna say it's
No, I mean,
just something.
I would love to be able to think that I could program my way out. I can't even program a day.
No, but look, if you are given
you know what I'm saying? I can't
handed a death
control.
sentence, you know what the next 9 months of your life are going to be. That's where the decision comes. You give me a death sentence and I'm looking at 9 months of
Nobody's going to
deterioration.
give me a sentence that I'm going to believe.
Okay.
If you tell me 9, I'm going to say no 10.
So you're going to be the fighter. And that's admirable
but
if you want to go through it.
But when you've got people around you that have, an attachment to, I think those people give you a reason to stay.
No, well,
I don't want to stay. I already
and they don't want you to stay. I'm sorry. They're not going to admit it. They don't want you to stay.
when we're good for you to go.
They want to move on with their lives. They know that you're going to go eventually. The being a burden to the family is like the great fear of my life, that I'm just going to have to, my son is going to have to change my diapers. No, I'm going out.
No one's changing my diaper.
You don't want to be there, but when you are there, and I've seen elderly people that were family members get there, there's this kind of, like you said, James, you start out as the child and you turn into the adult, and then you watch and it's the adult turning back into the child, and the child that was being taken care of by that adult now taking care of that adult on their way out as an adult, but an adult child. And that's the part that you think as the adult child you don't want to be. But there were many moments that I knew my mom didn't want to be there anymore, or was thinking, hey, this is close to the end. But those were some of the best moments that we had. We're right there at the end. Some of those real bare...
With all due respect, though, best moments for you. Can you speak for her? She was in a lot of pain. Best moments for you.
No, but in terms of sharing mental, still all your head.
She was there.
Not all your body. All your head, but not all your body. That's the type of where you go, wow, this really sucks. Because you see them when they leave with their brain, and they still have their body, but when their brain's not there and they're physically there, they're gone. And then you see them when they have their brain, but they don't have the rest of the function, and they're perfectly normal up top, but the car that they're in is just a piece of crap, for lack of a better word. And it's not going to get any more miles. And when you realize that that's where it is, okay, we're about to turn it into the scrap shop, any week or month down the road here. It's just a matter of time. Those are the moments that you share intellectually, not body. I felt bad for my mom that she was sitting there, or my dad, or who, not my dad. It didn't happen that way, but my grandfather. And I felt bad for them in that situation. But at the same time, they were appreciative of seeing how everybody was operating in the midst of them not being able to do crap and actually being a burden. They thought like, wow, I had trained everybody good. Y'all are going to be fine. Y'all move on and don't worry about me. It was almost their way to almost like shake it off and say, hey, I'm good. It's time for me to go.
I I believe, and this is a very controversial thing for me to say in my family, although there are members of my family who agree with me. I believe that my grandfather went out exactly the way that I just described. I believe that my grandfather, who was dying for years and years and years, took his own life. Now there are people in my family who don't believe that and won't believe that. There are other people who do. I believe so. When I say this is my plan, it's not like I haven't seen somebody in my family or believe that somebody in my family hasn't already done it. I think my grandpa took himself out.
I think that is how I hope it ends for me. I really like because I have read this in history books and whatever over the years, but in the old HBO series Rome, when Octavius finally goes down to Egypt and kicks out old Mark Antony and Cleopatra, she's about to kill herself. She gets her little slave handmaiden to bring the asp. She's gonna have the little snake bite her, and she'll be dead in a few minutes. But before the snake bites her, she goes, "Wait! Go get my son." So they have to go fetch her son and to bring her in the room. And he's like, "What is it, Mom?" She just goes, "I wanted you to see this because this is how nobility dies by their own hand." Love that saying because no one killed Cleopatra. No one told Cleopatra when it was time to die. Cleopatra decided when it was time for her to die.
The less glamorous version of that is Hitler. Hitler did the same thing as Cleopatra, and he did it because of Cleopatra. And he's apparently known for saying that that's how he would go out. He would go out by his own hand if it ever came to that. And he cited Cleopatra as a.
Me, Cleopatra, and Hitler.
I also love how you and I are the only people who still cite Rome, the HBO series. I think we're the only people who watched it. I don't know anybody else who ever saw Rome on HBO. The Julii, I loved that show. That show was great.
Evidently, Leslie has.
Oh, there you go. Somebody else has seen it. Yeah, it's like 15, 20 years ago at this point, right?
Yeah, and look, I love the history pieces, but this one had like a narrator that would show up just very sparingly to explain some crap going on, and I would love that in other shows. Can we just have a narrator show up? Yeah, and like barbarians or whatever. Like, who are these people? What year is this? Where's Pannonia?
Are these the Visigoths or are these the Vandals? Who are these people that are
like Dalmatia, like the dog?
All right, so can I take us in a different direction?
Please do.
Like totally lighter, a lot lighter.
Okay.
Just like crazy thoughts direction. All right. I was thinking the other day, weird thought.
You don't say.
What is your best day as a towel?
Okay. Your best day as a towel. Now, I'm going to need a little more information. Am I a bath towel? Am I a beach towel?
No. You're at the finish line of a charity 5K in Beverly Hills, and Jenny McCarthy grabs you.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Can it be Selena Gomez? Because I'll change that out. I just recently, like 10 minutes ago, saw a picture of, or an hour ago, saw a new picture of Selena Gomez. So she's kind of my favorite of the moment. E, what is the origin of this question? What is my best day as a towel? Okay, so I'm an inanimate object. I am a towel, but let's anthropomorphize a towel. What is my best day?
You need a premise to answer this?
I do. I need to work this out. I need to work this out in my head.
Motivation here.
So we've got.
You have a life, and you have a life as a towel.
Got an anthropomorphized towel. Okay, so I'm a towel.
What is your best day as a towel? Like when you start out your day in the usual day of a towel.
Tell you what, okay, I got you. You want to know what? Like, I'm a towel.
What can you possibly expect to happen that's good?
Let me tell you something. I'll tell you what I love. As a towel, I will tell you what my best day is. Okay, so I've been sopping up everybody in the family. I'm a towel. I'm hanging there in your bathroom, and you throw me in the bin, with all the laundry bin with all the other towels, and we're hanging out and we're partying.
Could have been in the same hellhole.
Now we're all together.
Worse.
No, we've been separated, and now we're together, and the bed sheets are with us too, and we get thrown in the laundry, and that's awesome. It's like bath time. But my absolute best moment as a towel that I love is when you, my owner, take me out of the driver and with tender loving care, fold me up and put me back in the linen closet where I sit and wait to be used again. That's my best
Right,
day.
that's it.
That's me. That's my best day.
That is it.
Hi, I'm Thomas the Towel.
Well, if you're a towel, then the washing machine's kind of like a hot tub where you and all your friends kind of
It's the
just
dance
grind
club.
up
It's
against
the
each
dance
other.
club where we go. It's where we all get together and, we hang out with the socks. It's great.
Dryer's
But
a
you
sauna?
all are in there just messed up.
Dancing, having fun. You don't know. You don't live the towel life.
Well, I think more of the dancing and having fun would be in the dryer because the dryer kind of has, I don't know if it's more of a sauna or, so some of those hot like warehouse dance clubs kind of feel like you're in a dryer when it's really hot.
James, Tommy the Towel here. You're absolutely right. The washing machine is the pool party. And then the dryer is sort of like, after the pool party, everybody's grilling. We're drying off. We're hanging out. We're socializing. That's a wonderful
All right,
experience.
Tommy, let me ask you this then. As a towel, if you could only choose one, would it be the washer or the dryer?
Yeah, it would have to be the dryer because I'm always wet. That's my work. So I don't want to be wet. Just dry. When I'm nice and dry, that's when I'm feeling like I'm at my best.
Have your thoughts on fabric softener? It's because my wife likes the free and clear. She doesn't like the scented stuff. She thinks it might be like irritating to the kid's skin or something. I like the smells. Do you have a preference, Tom?
I don't really need the fabric softener, but if you want to throw a dryer sheet in with us, dryer sheets are hysterical. Anytime I can hang out with a dryer sheet, that's not so much. I gotta be honest with you. I found that liquid softener is racist, so I would rather hang out with the dryer sheet.
Tom, I got a question for
Yeah.
you. Is there segregation in the washer depending on the type of soil that's occurred to the towel?
No, absolutely not. No, but there is segregation within the towel world. For instance,
you're not supposed to bring that up. It's to see the underbelly of the laundry world. We still separates the colors and the whites, don't we?
Well, there's separation of colors and whites in laundry, which is interesting. And then I'm also wondering, like, say men's underwear, okay, for lack of a better word. Do you think maybe men's underwear should be washed alone versus being thrown in Gen Pop with other colored jeans and socks? Like, do you think there's a level of soil that could be on men's underwear?
No.
That means it should be extracted from the load of wash, washed individually.
Look,
And
I know what you're trying to say. Do we want to be in the washer with the poop stains and all that kind of stuff? And I got to be honest,
exactly.
As a towel, I can't really be like that because we're used for everything. I know that we are intended to be used to dry your body, but somebody spills this guy who lives here, Pugs, he'll like spill a bottle of dip and like all of a sudden I'm mopping up dip with the towel. It's so I can't be like that because I know that my use, I could be sopping up anything, but no. I'll tell you what I don't like, though. You asked if there is some kind of segregation. There truly is. I will not, under any circumstances, hang out with a dish towel. If you are dish towels, look, just ask a washcloth about the dish towels. They're bad people. So that's really good.
See, I think the washcloth is probably the most soiled towel.
Oh yeah, and dirty as hell.
In the group, unless it's the dishcloth. I think the dishcloth,
those guys are
the dishcloth and the washcloth. But the problem that I have, or I think the advantage that the dishcloth has over the washcloth, is the dishcloth food product is prior to it being poop product and food product, and so. The washcloth seems like it gets the shorter end of the stick.
No.
I don't know. I think
Let me tell you something about the washcloth. The washcloth does not get the short end of anything. The washcloth is constantly getting soap on it. The washcloth is constantly getting a nice little bath. Not us. We never get soap on us. We dry off you after the shower, but the washcloth is constantly having fun, constantly getting washed, constantly getting dried out. There's soap. They're getting paid attention to. You only pay attention to me when you need me after a shower.
See, this doesn't make any sense. This is counterintuitive, and I have zero towel experience, but I would
why you have
assume
me
you would want to. I know exactly, and this is an opportunity because I made the assumption that as a towel you would want to be used less, but you just said washcloths have an advantage because they're constantly being used. But I see the studies that say the washcloths have the most disgusting bacteria buildup. They're the dirtiest of the towel world. And I thought, you know, like the dirtiest, stinkiest, most diseased part of the human world is the bottom rung of society. So why wouldn't the washcloth be the bottom rung of the towel world?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because we have the migrant community of towels, the paper towels. The paper towels are absolute trash. You just throw those guys out. Nobody even gives a crap
Literal
about them.
trash, yeah.
They are the migrant.
Well, the trash of the dryer is the paper towel.
Yeah, why would you put a paper towel? Just throw that bitch out. That's just
well. But when it ends up, when the paper towel ends up in your pocket by accident, okay, it then ends up in the trash of the dryer, which is basically the lint.
See, that's why we call them the migrants, the immigrants of the towel world. Look at them; they're in your pocket. They're taking the job of a good American Kleenex. Why isn't the Kleenex in your pocket?
Well, because the paper towel ends up in your pocket just because of strength.
All right, I got to quit this improv because honestly, I'm starting to hyperventilate.
You're starting to
really
hyperventilate.
Yeah, and I had another story. Can I do something gross?
Yeah, we got nowhere to go.
Yeah, particularly when we spent 15 minutes on towels.
Hey, let me tell you guys something. We just yes and the shit out of that bit. Well done, well done.
For not being rehearsed.
James, when Emil said, "Can I talk about towels?" We could have gone no, but we didn't. We went with it, and look, we did a bit. Go ahead. What else you got?
Y'all should see what my wife uses towels for. So this last story here is this creepy story. The headline's not on here, right? All right, so just look at this guy. Oh no, he's getting arrested. Ignore my name. That's a horrible coincidence. This is from Texas Scorecard. What do you think this guy's in trouble for?
I got an idea. I have an idea.
Oh.
Sex with an underage girl.
I don't know. Is it this guy?
Just nailed it. Just absolutely 100% Mickey Mantle out of the park home run. It was that home run in Detroit where it landed in the lumberyard across the street.
Wow.
He got that in like 4 seconds.
Jeez.
Here is the second Pugs. You're gonna have to get this one. Emil can't do everything. What is his job? Just tell me what industry he's in, vaguely speaking.
Industry. Well, I don't know. A blackjack dealer.
He's a
teacher.
I
nailed it again.
Teacher. No, I was gonna say teacher, but James said industry, so I went, oh, okay, so he's got to be something else.
I could tell by the background.
Yes, he looks like a teacher. Yeah,
wow.
I was gonna say teacher.
He's not a teacher, actually. This is Michael Stevens. He's like me. He looks like me if I had about 100 pounds on me. He's about my age too, but he's the superintendent. Was the superintendent of Itasca Independent School District in Hill County, which I believe is like just like an hour south of where you two are sitting right now.
Yeah, I didn't see a picture of the guy, but he just had that background that looked like he had taken in the school picture.
Yeah.
And then when I see a guy at school getting arrested, I'm assuming it's something to do with underage kids.
You know what? That is great context clues, because now that I look at that profile picture of him on the left, that is obviously a school yearbook picture.
It's a yearbook photo, right? Who the hell does that? Yeah.
No, I think it's a school principal photo.
Yes, he's the superintendent, so it's the same thing. A couple of observations. First off, that shirt that he's wearing in the photo on the right. When did we all, the old dudes, start wearing those vintage sort of pastel-looking fishing shirts? Like, I know it's hot, and I know it's made out of super thin material, and it has like the vents in the back and stuff. And I get it. You're really vintage. It stays cool, but it looks dumb, and I hate those shirts. And my dad wears them. And these dudes that I used to work with in New Orleans would wear them. And like, I see them on old dudes all over the place in Bug Tussle. And then I went to Dallas and I saw people wearing them. And I'm like, I'm not getting on this trend. I haven't seen you guys wear them, but
I don't even know what I might accidentally wear that. I don't know what it doesn't look like a bad shirt, but how does he find it?
It's a PFG is what James is talking about.
What?
Say, what's a PFG?
That's the brand of the shirt.
Oh well, I don't know. If it's
Some fishing gear like
yes. So they have like
Pacific
bits on
fishing
the
gear or something
side.
like that.
They have like a seam across the back that flaps open, and there's like a little mesh under it, so you can
Hey,
have a vent in your back.
Let me tell you something, you sizist. Let me tell you something about this guy. You're criticizing his shirt. He does not have a whole lot of choices. They don't make a whole bunch of stuff in 5X. Seriously, he's got to go to the big and tall. It's one of the problems a lot of dudes who shop in big and tall shops talk about is just got to dress the way they think fat people should look, because that's the only style that they have at big and tall shops. It's just one style.
April says they're a turnoff. The shirts.
Yeah, they are. They're ugly as hell. Chicks don't like them. They look dumb. You don't need to be vented. It's not like you're running a marathon. You're not doing anything. You're not Iron Man.
What did you say they were called? What's the brand of the shirt? I want to look at it.
PFG, I think.
PFG?
No, P.
PFG. But I've seen them in like 10 different brands. This is a style of shirt that anyway. The gross part of this story here is first off, he looks like this. He's 47 years old, and he was under the impression that there was a 15-year-old girl in Houston that just couldn't wait to have sex with him. So he hopped in his truck and was headed to Houston. And when he got there, it turns out that he had been sending pictures of himself whipping his mule to an undercover agent this whole time. Oh, you're not believing that.
Oh my God, what is going on?
Can he just get a prostitute? I mean, seriously, if he's going to Houston, why didn't he just get a call girl? I mean, I'm thinking that he's probably having difficulty getting girls. He's that big. He's obviously creepy because he's into kids. So, just get a prostitute. Although I guess if he's into kids, that doesn't.
It's not going to do it. Yeah, that's not going to tickle it.
And now that I'm seeing the chat room, I'm like going, wow, I really didn't realize these fishing shirts had that type of negative.
Yeah, I didn't either. I can't even.
They're awful. I hate them, and I can't understand their popularity.
James,
and my dad wears them now.
I just looked at these shirts. Hold on. I just pulled up these PFG shirts on Bing Images, and I'm looking at the shirts. They don't look familiar to me at all. I don't know that I've seen them. So I might accidentally wear one, unless they're ugly. And when I do so.
Well, I mean, they're a product that I think got mainstream because it had a function, and I guess the people that figured out it had a function were fat people because it had extra pockets and stuff. It looked like maybe
is that it?
No, it's a fishing shirt. It started as,
but I think it started out as a fishing shirt that somehow fat guys felt like it made them feel more covered up in, because it had pockets all over. It's kind of like when a fat guy wears a vest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It gives them a layer of, you don't see the ripple so much. It's not like a Spank, but it's almost like a sausage container.
I hear that.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just, not that I'm out here trying to help the pedophiles of the world, but 47-year-old men, especially if you're pushing 3 bills, no 15-year-old wants to have sex with you ever. Don't fall. Or you're an idiot if you fall for this. Or you know what? Fall for it. Go get yourself put in prison. You idiot.
No, yeah, please do fall for it.
Yeah, just go. Yeah, just fall headfirst in a wood chipper while you're at it.
Do a self.
Also, 47-year-old men who look like this, no one wants to see you wanking. 47-year-old men who don't look like this, no one wants to see you wanking. Maybe other gay guys or whatever, but if
the reality is, if you're that size and you're wanking, your other hand is holding up your belly because it's in the way you're wanking.
Is it, or is other hand?
If you're standing up, he's got to be laying down in order for that blubber not to be coming down. Gravity works downward.
Yeah, he's probably,
not interested in discussing the physics of this guy's wanking.
Well, I'm just saying, a guy like that is going to some trouble trying to show somebody that he's capable of whacking it when most of his downward fat is coming on top of it.
Just how about don't record yourself or take pictures of yourself whacking it? This is
I'd like to see. Well, I wouldn't want to see it, but I'd like to know if he was foot up or foot down when he was whacking.
He's probably just laying in his bed.
Here's the scary part. This guy has been a superintendent of Itasca School
course.
District. Before that, superintendent of some other smaller school district. Before that, he was a teacher and a coach at some other school district. Before that, he worked at another school district. And I don't know why he necessarily hopped around, because some teachers hop around from school to school.
Like
But
priests.
my sister's.
Here's where he needs to hop around. He needs to get put into a cell with a bunch of dudes.
Oh, he will. He will. The other thing, principal people are like, oh, I'm shocked he's a principal. Well, if you're a pedophile, what line of work do you think you're going to be attracted to going into? That's why all of these dudes are like teachers and pedophiles and coaches and Cub Scout leaders. And that's what you do when you need to be around children. That's
one of the scary parts. Is this dude's 47, so he has a 25-year streak of being just having exposure to people's kids. And yeah, dude, if you're into kids, what a great job it is to not just be a teacher, but be a coach. You get to be in this room where they change clothes and shower and stuff, and it's like, oh, can we just?
You are some kind of evil sick.
Hey,
if you're that dude.
do we know if was he meeting a girl or a boy?
Girl.
Girl. Okay.
Well, at least
Does
it's not
it
gay.
matter?
Yeah, no, just for my own edification, just because I'm trying to riff on this guy. So, I thought maybe if he was, maybe just looking for more context. That's all.
I hate him either way.
Of course.
Like
He's a child predator, of course.
Yes.
And he
We have
betrayed his
evidence
community.
that.
He betrayed every parent that he's ever, overseen a child's education of. He's just a total piece of shit. He should go to jail forever. Before we get out of here, though, I do want to bring up one thing. I want to have a conversation here very quickly. It doesn't even have to be quickly. We have not had a conversation because of all of the craziness and the hubbub and all of that. We have not had a conversation about our retreat from Party Cove on Saturday because I am still not okay. I am still not okay.
As quickly as that whipped up. Why?
All right, so James, we're out of Party Cove. Bye. We're on Saturday.
Party Club Lake Louisville.
Lake Louisville, Party Cove, Lake Louisville. Beautiful day. What an incredible host. Oh my God, my kid on the way home, he said, he turns to me and he goes, I'm really glad you and are friends. I go, yeah, me too, kiddo. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
We have such a good time. It's just a full day of jet skiing and a bunch of other good friends with boats tying off, making a huge platform of like 3 boats, a little armada, kids running around, dogs running around. There's always food, all the stuff that, I just take for granted. Like, I've never brought a whole bunch of sandwiches, and yet every time I go out there's lunch if you want it. It's just an incredibly gracious thing that you do, and I want to make sure you know how much we appreciate it.
Oh,
So
thank you. You always are welcome. I'm fortunate to be able to do it.
Having said that, James, about 6 o'clock on Saturday, we're all in the water, just bobbing along in the water, music playing, people having fun, beers flowing, and all of a sudden I look off into the west and I see black sky, just black sky coming. And I don't know about you, but it seems to me that me and Rick were the only people concerned about this. Me and Rick were like, this looks real. And he's like,
yeah, at that point in the day, I would say that I had basically come to the conclusion that if it was going to rain, we were already in the water, so what?
Yeah, but then the winds kicked up, and then it started to be more.
That was the part I didn't count.
Yeah, so this incredible, gusts, these huge gusts of winds. So there's probably, I don't know, you would be a better judge of this. How many boats at peak were in Party Cove? 50?
I'd say 60. Yeah, 50.
Okay,
60.
so somewhere like that.
Yeah.
So, it is bumping out there. Everybody left at once. Okay, so let me tell you what we have. We have the rain starting. Actually, the rain never fell. It was just winds.
No.
It was just winds and huge waves.
But you could see the rain.
Yes, it just didn't seem to hit us.
It was off in the distance. Yeah. You could see it, and it was off in the distance. Mm-hmm. And what it was, it looked like, well, it actually did. The rain was going to miss us, and so I thought wrong. That
got bad.
Okay, the rain's gonna not hit us, but I didn't pay any attention to what could possibly happen with the wind.
So he has a jet ski, and typically, in order for everybody to go out on the boat and to have the jet skis out on the boat, I take the jet ski out. I chase along the boat to wherever we're going to set up, right? So I'm in charge of the jet ski kind of thing. Now I got my kid, right? So it's me and my kid on the jet ski. So I'm looking at these waves and I'm looking at all these boats, big boats, some of them freaking yachts. I mean, some of them big ass boats. I'm seeing everybody head for the hills. There's a little tiny exit, the party cove, to head back to the beer, probably about 50 yards across this little like slip where you would head out to every boat hit this area at the same time, which means the boats are kicking up weight that is insane. And then you have this wind and this crazy storm kicking up waves that are
It was biblical. The winds and the water turned biblical.
And here's me, desperate, on a jet ski with my kid on the back. I was going through waves. Like typically you go over waves. We were going underwater and through waves. My kid is on the back going, this is awesome. And he's screaming at me, why are you so close to the shore? Why are you so close to the shore? And I'm like, because if we capsize, I am not going to be in the middle of the lake. I'm going to make it so that we can get to the shore. Now, let me add something else to this. Probably about 3 miles of lake water from where we were to where we needed to go. About 3 minutes into the journey on the jet ski through this absolute perfect storm horror show on the lake, my gas tank goes off. Suddenly I have no gas.
I knew that was going to go off. I told Mason that, but it was not like you were in any jeopardy.
Okay, but you understand with the
oh, I know.
I'm like,
I know. You don't have to tell me. I know.
I'm out here in a storm in the middle of the lake, surrounded by hundreds of boats who are all hauling ass to get to their dock before this water comes in. And here's me. Everybody was, dude, the reason I had to go lay down on the boat when everybody was having a nice little dock party was because seriously, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. My anxiety was just through the freaking roof. The scariest thing I have ever experienced. And I made it. We made it.
Yeah. And that's just
now, what was your trip like? Because Wendy, your beautiful wife, told me that it was so bad. And I'm like, imagine what it was like for us on the jet ski.
Well, I will say that when we were going back, Wendy was like, "Oh, I feel bad for Pugs." She did say that. I feel bad for Pugs and Mason because you were on the jet ski, but you guys exited before we exited.
Oh yeah, we got the hell out of there.
And you got the hell out of there, and we were in a worse situation than that. So,
and I can tell
everybody starts taking off. Everybody starts taking off, and everybody's tied up together. And at this point, we had people that were tied up to us and one side, and Rick was tied up to us on the other side. And so we started getting so everybody's getting everybody untied. The winds are blowing. The waves now have literally turned to like 4 or 5 foot rollers. Like
they're coming over the bows.
Like they're white capping. That's how windy it's got, and they're white capping like that, and stuff's going on. And at this particular point in time, Steve somehow forgets that he's got one rope out, and our boat spins.
Just so people know, the names Steve, Rick, and E. Those are the captains of the 3 boats: Captain E, Captain Rick, and Captain Steve. So go ahead.
So Steve's got one line still out, and the boat's got spun around it, and so my prop got tied into the rope. So I had to get the knife, go and cut it loose.
That rope was cut.
That's why that rope was cut, and it was stuck under there, and I had to get it cut loose. And Wendy had to drive the boat. We got into literally about 3 foot water. We got pushed up like against the shore because that's how fast the wind was blowing.
You were getting beached.
I had to push the boat out with what's his name that was with Robert that was with me, and then Wendy wasn't driving the boat fast enough because the waves were getting so big it was pushing her in. So I had to go give it more gas, and then she started giving more gas, but then she's afraid she's going to leave me. I was like, I'm fine, just go. And so yeah, it was a little bit stressful.
I
but
appreciate Wendy saying I feel bad for Pugs and Mason. I appreciate that because I went through some things. Not my son. My son thought it was the most awesome ride of his life. He was like, "That was incredible."
same way with my kid on the way back. He was like, "Whoa, Dad, these waves are cool." Like it was like we were going up and coming down.
So
Yeah.
it was. Thank you for that day. It was a wonderful day. But my God, I am still. I mean, I've never been that scared in my life. I thought me and my son were going to die in Lake Louisville. I thought we were going to be on WFAA. You know, former radio personality dead in Lake Louisville. Like, oh God, it was scary. The other thing that I learned about Lake Louisville. Remember the snake situation?
Yes.
Okay, so that was a deal because it became a big news story because my
Oh, it did.
yeah, my ex-wife, my son's mom said, "What's the lake situation out there?" I go, "Or what's the snake situation?" I go, "Why?" Because I had seen the snakes, you know, with you, and I'm like,
Yeah, we had seen. I'd like seen 4 of them in like.
I'm like, why are you
half a
asking
day.
me about the snakes? And she's like, oh, it was on the news. And I'm like, oh, great. So I look it up, and yeah, sure enough. Now I didn't see any snakes out there when we were out there. So it seems like a couple of weeks ago there were snakes everywhere in that water.
Everywhere. Why, and what was the story about?
Just that because of the light winter, that there were just like twice as many snakes born. So there were just all of these new snakes all over Lake Louisville.
Okay.
But as soon as the boat traffic picks up, that's what they said in the news article that I saw online. As soon as the boats get out there, they all go. They all go.
Man, I had never seen I saw like 4 snakes in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen 4 snakes in 2 seasons.
Yeah, no, they were out there. And the other thing that I stumbled across about Lake Louisville is something that we've debated a lot with the kids. Now, this is not information for the kids, but this is something that is very real, and there's been multiple sightings.
Oh, here we're gonna.
There are alligators in Lake Louisville.
There are
Yes,
not.
there absolutely are.
Show me a picture.
Okay, I'll show you the Army Corps of Engineers that took a picture of a 9-foot alligator at the Little Elm Dam.
When?
Well, this one was 2016. This was
well, that's
no,
dead
no,
alligator.
no. But you can search it, man. There are. You just search. Google search? Are there alligators in Lake Louisville? And it will say.
I'll never
yes.
speak one word of this ever.
Not to your kid.
No, he'll die of an alligator death. He'll die an alligator death before he knows there's an alligator in Lake Louisville.
Hold on. No, there's a couple. There's a couple. They're native to the area, and they've been dropped in and by people who had them as pets, and then they just became a thing. Now they're not prevalent.
If somebody saw them, they'd get the game warden.
Well, they did, and that's here. I'm going to show you this picture. Look at this one. Large alligator. Hold on. Large alligator seen near I-35 West in Denton. Lake Louis. Here, hold on. Let me show you these. Let me show the Army Corps of Engineer pictures. I can't find it now. You know what? We'll do it tomorrow because I know we're running out of time. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it. Here, wait. Let me just ask this question. Hold on. Let's ask Google. Are there alligators in Lake Louisville, Texas?
According to As Animals, in total, Texas Parks and Wildlife has estimated that there are a few dozen alligators in North Texas lakes like Lake Worth and Louisville Lake.
Texas Park and Wildlife has estimated. Okay, this is from, and now it's got the link to the Texas Park and Wildlife story. There are alligators in Lake Louisville, and there's big ones, a 9-foot one.
We most certainly
the
have
only
some
place
over here.
I would believe that's possible would be like in those fingerlings way, way, way deep in where the boats don't go.
Okay, so here's another question. Here's another question. Where are the alligators in Lake Louisville? This is Google. This is a Google. Where are the alligators in Lake Louisville? They are primarily located in the southeastern portion. Lake Louisville is a common area for these reptiles to congregate. Texas Parks and Wildlife officials believe that there are at least a few dozen alligators that call Lake Louisville home. A few dozen.
No way.
Okay, you don't have to believe the Google goddess, but
why aren't there any pictures?
Well, there are pictures. I saw one. I just can't find it right now. Well, first of all, because there's not hundreds of them like in Florida, so a few dozen spread around.
You don't think you would get a picture?
No, not really.
If
Look,
I saw an alligator, I'd take a picture.
Is Lake Louisville
what
safe
if
to
it was
swim in?
50th?
It says the lake is excellent for swimming and other recreational activities. Okay. There's never been an alligator attack. They leave you alone. And I read all about them after finding this out about these alligators in the lake. And I will never say this around your son. Don't worry. I'm not going to say it around my son either. So don't worry about it. But alligators are afraid of people. The only time that alligators will attack you is if you come up across when it's feeding, resting, or somewhere on the shore. And that's also where they are. They're on the shore. They're out in the middle of the lake. There's not going to be an alligator swimming across the middle of the lake. That's not what they do. They're in like shallow waters. Like we see a lot of parts of the lake, especially on Saturday. I was out there. I'm like, I bet there's alligators over there. You know, like parts where people don't go. Yeah. Hey, look it up, James.
So alligators are naturally afraid of humans. Crocodiles are naturally aggressive to humans. And crocodiles only really exist in America in one spot, and that's at the bottom tip of Florida. And it's really the only habitat on planet Earth where alligators and crocodiles live naturally side by side. So the alligators you see in Lake Louisville, if you're swimming, they're not going to come up and randomly bite you.
Yeah, no, they'll run away. Hold on.
But I still don't believe that an alligator navigates its way out into 20 or 30 foot water. I don't.
It doesn't. So you don't have to. You just can't go. And they will not be, from the stuff that I've read, they will not be anywhere people congregate. So if you're trying to slip away with your girl and you find this secret little cove where nobody go, yeah, there might be an alligator there. But all the places where we go and stuff like Party Cove, there are no alligators over there. That is way too busy for them. They would be like, nope, no, thank you. So you don't have to worry about it. But they are there. They are there. The Army Corps of Engineers picture was taken at that dam. You know, the dam right across from Party Cove. Mm-hmm. So it was.
And it showed the alligator.
It showed the alligator. Let me see if I can find this picture real quick.
But this is 2016.
This was, yeah.
All right. And here's an interesting stat that'll make you feel better. Crocodiles kill human beings all the time, but over the last 50 years, only 21 human beings have been killed by alligators.
There you go.
Worldwide.
They still have sharp teeth.
They can ruin your weekend, but they're probably not going to attack you to begin with.
Well, it's just if you hit something underwater, if you graze something with your foot or your leg, or you're just swimming there and you touch something, the fact that could be an alligator is all that your mind needs to know. And right, but I mean, the fact that it could be an alligator that you just hit changes the whole equation.
All right, live in fear.
I can't find this story. All right, I don't want to do this anyway because I got to take the dog out for a walk. But tomorrow I will have the pictures for you. I will have the pictures and the full story of the big 9-foot alligator that was captured, or not captured, but photographed by the Army Corps of Engineers. That's the other thing.
I love that Leslie's got all the technique for fighting alligators.
Okay. Good luck with that.
If you get their mouths shut, you can keep it closed.
There are alligators in Lake Louisville. I am convinced of it. Texas Fish and Wildlife, they say it's true. All right, there goes James. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, appreciate you. We'll get back at it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do we'll do the noon thing. I do a show Monday through Friday at noon where hot topics, current events, headlines, all the things that are happening in the world. I'll give them to you in a nice little neat to eat rundown every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. Also, we do this show Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time until whenever, 10 o'clock typically, but ran a little bit late today. A little bit of bonus time for you. Tip the show if possible. The show runs on your tips. Appreciate that. What else? That's it, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Tip the show if you can, though. Drop a little something in the Venmo. That'd be great. I appreciate it. A couple of you helped out this afternoon during the high noon show. Thank you so much. Still a little bit of a ways to go. So if anything can be done, we would appreciate it. Drop a little something in the Venmo or the Cash App, whichever. We appreciate you. It's down there at the bottom of the screen. No, you're awesome, Al. Good night, April. Good night, Leslie. Good. Whitney says, great stream, Pugs and James and E. Great talking with the chat. Love you, Whitney. Thank you. Byron, be well. Barney, always good to see you. All right, folks. Tip if you can. That's all I'm going to say. And I love you all. And I'll see you tomorrow at noon. Bye.
Another day, the best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Oh my God. I'll shut up.
I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.